Good evening and welcome to CPS Live with Buzz Bangerin. With us today is the president of the Psychological Association, Dr. Psych. Welcome, Miss Psych.
Thank you for having me on the show, Buzz.
Psychological assessments along with forensic experts are now used on children, parents and extended families and dependency actions across the nation. Can you tell me a little bit about what the evaluation entails?
Absolutely. First, we get a referral for services from the caseworker, then schedule an appointment. The caseworker sends us information from all parties, providing information to the court to assist in diagnosis. We may have extensive conversations with the caseworkers and those stakeholders to get a feel for the referred party.
You mean, long before they ever get to the assessment, everyone has provided information about them according to facts, hearsay, or what?
At this point, hearsay is allowed and taken as the gospel truth.
What if it isn't the truth? What if there are people presenting false accusations or mistaken facts?
Buzz, we assume that everything is a fact and truth, then act accordingly. After all, it is the state paying for this. We feel it best to be on the side of the child.
I am not sure the child has anything to do with it. How much do they pay you for assessment and court hearings?
Actually, it is quite exciting. We take the taxpayers for thousands of dollars to determine if they are fit enough to be parents or relative caregivers. Assessments range from $800 to $5,000 depending on where someone lives and what we feel we can get away with charging them. The state, of course, pays the lowest amount. All private pays get taken to the cleaners.
That sounds kind of unethical, having a different rate of pay for the state versus private pay. What if they can't afford your prices?
Then they lose the right to raise the child.
What I am hearing you say is, what is best for the child is not taken into consideration but whether a person can pay or not?
The burden of proof is upon the parent and relative to prove fitness.
It is my understanding according to the laws the burden of proof is upon the state to prove unfitness.
Not with our help. We make it impossible for a parent or grandparent to claim fitness. With our methods, we turn that around with gusto.
So, let me get this straight. First, people can say whatever they want to get the children removed, and they do. Then, they take that information, true or not, and give it to you. Then you use this as a major part of your diagnosis. How seriously do the judges take your assessments?
Well, Buzz, they don't care if the assessments are true or not. They are mainly interested in getting home for dinner or going out to lunch. We provide them time management and faster decision-making abilities. We actually save the state and taxpayer money by providing issue in prosecution. This way, they save money on defense.
So, what else can you tell me about your assessments?
Once they're in for the appointment, we give them a battery of tests to substantiate the accusations.
Substantiate, not objective.
Oops, no, I mean to provide scientific data for diagnosis.
It is my understanding that those tests are biased and rigged for diagnosis.
That is not true. It is just that everyone has a mental health issue.
Does this include you?
If you must know, yes.
What kind of mental health problem do you have? Do you ever hear voices?
Sure, I hear voices, but medication helps with that sometimes.
What do the voices tell you to do?
Actually, they are very helpful. They often tell me what diagnosis to give to my patients.
Are the voices ever wrong?
No, never. A couple of them are highly educated and well respected.
Well respected by who?
By the others.
Boy howdy. Now back to the assessment. So after you give them the tests, then what do?
I get a life history and family background on them. Then I complete the diagnosis.
Now, I heard you say that the caseworker supplies information and also some of the stakeholders. Do the clients provide people who can vouch for them?
Not usually. We do not ask for that as a matter of course. Remember, we are hired by the state. They don't want information that violates their agenda and interferes with prosecution.
You keep saying they are hired by the state, but it is taxpayer dollars and it sounds like that money is not used very wisely.
You only think that because you have a mental problem. You're paranoid and have chronic depression. You also have penis envy.
What on earth has happened here that would bring you to that conclusion?
You keep frowning and raising your eyebrows. The wrinkle lines on your forehead suggest high stress and your glasses are too large.
What does my glasses have to do with anything?
You chose large glasses as a phallus symbol.
I can assure you, as can my much younger wife, I have nothing to be envious about. Now, back to the assessment. How often are you called into court to defend your diagnosis?
As often as possible. You see, I make about $1,000 to $2,000 every time I sit through a court hearing. There really is no stress to it. I provide my opinion and it rarely gets challenged. The judge often goes with my recommendations. It is nothing but easy money.
But what happens when the clients don't agree with your opinion?
Who cares? Nobody listens to them anyway. CPS takes them. They give me unlimited ability to bring in any kind of conclusion I want to with their blessing. I rarely get questioned, and it all works for me. One of the committee in my head thinks you're a dork.
I don't have a committee in my head giving me advice, but common sense tells me this is a racket.
As I said, you have mental health problems. I can refer you to a good practitioner.
I heard you had problems because you made discriminatory remarks about people in urban communities.
I just merely gave my opinion, but it doesn't matter. As soon as I left one association, I was hired as the president of another without missing a beat. We all cover each other's bad behavior.
Let's take a couple of questions from the audience. The first question is from one of your former clients, Destroyed for Me. They state that they had another diagnosis which gave a completely different diagnosis from yours. They want to know what the basis for your diagnosis was in their case and they give written permission to discuss it.
I remember you. My address was from a second-hand store. You look like Raggedy Ann, and you looked scared to death. You are not a proper example of parenting. Children need to be raised in a household with enough money in it to buy fashionable clothes, pay for lavish vacations, and experience top performers. What can this chick do for anyone?
I think you mistake money with a quality lifestyle. Many poor families provide for their children and nurture them with love and kindness. Your ideas are highly questionable. What does her dress have anything to do with parenting? Here's another question by someone in the audience. This person is a foster child who states that his parents were neither abusive or neglectful, but his foster parents sure were. Because of your statements about his parents, he lost his family. What he wants to know is if you sleep well at night.
I haven't slept well for years, but it has nothing to do with you. It is all the medications I take that inhibit sleep. I write myself prescriptions for various stimulants to help me double my workload.
To the audience, are families being torn apart by pseudoscience and a faulty system that gives too much credence to it for the wrong reasons? Should taxpayers be objecting to the ridiculous sums of money being paid for shoddy diagnostic practices leading to the destruction of family? I leave you with this thought. Would you want Dr. Psychotic deciding your family's future? Buzz Bangren, over and out.